beautiful angels, it's Isabel. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified of when I upload next. I have been getting so many questions from you guys about overthinking. That's probably the main question I get in my Instagram lives all over, and it's an issue that a lot of us deal with, and especially nowadays. Anxiety, all-time high, and also because we're talking and having these open dialogues about anxiety and fears and just these recurring negative thoughts. So I thought I'd make this video to help you guys realize where these thoughts are coming from, how to cease giving them power, because truth is we're always going to have negative thoughts at some point, but we shouldn't allow them to just consume us or control us. And that is the big issue with negative thoughts and negative thinking, is that it often will consume our state of mind, our state of being, our happiness, and every facet of our life. So I want to start off this video by saying you are not your fears, you are not your thoughts, you are not your insecurities, you are not any of these things swimming around, this minutia swimming around in your head. And the way we can understand, you might be like, but if I'm not my mind, what am I? Well, you are a spirit, you are a soul, you are a divine being, you are a powerful being. And our mind and our spirit and our soul are different facets to us that make up our being. So here in the 3D world, in this world that we're in here, in this physical realm, we are usually being ruled by the ego. Now, what is the ego? The ego is neither a good or bad thing. I have chosen to see the ego as a tool for my use. And the problem is nowadays we're all living through our ego. Most of us are living through our ego. And what does the ego do? The ego can be described as the veil between our highest self, our true self, and this 3D conscious life that we're living here in the physical. The ego can also be seen as a teacher. We don't need to get rid of our ego. I know people talk about getting rid of the ego, destroying the ego. We don't destroy the ego. We just want to starve it and feed our conscious or our higher self, our higher consciousness that is connected to the universe at large. But we need our ego for survival. Now, the ego is a judge. It judges everything good or bad, negative or positive. And naturally, when we go through something or we're experiencing something in life, we want to automatically go and say, oh, this is bad, this is negative, this is not a good thing. Or we automatically want to say, this is good, this is positive. So I believe everything in life, our thoughts, the things that happen, it's not neither negative or positive. They just are. Thoughts are thoughts, just like experiences are experiences, and it's us that judge them negative or positive. It's our ego that judges them negative or positive. So once we understand that the ego is not us, that this idea that we have to be in constant fear, anxiety, that's our old cave person kind of brain coming into play. The cave person was constantly trying to survive, constantly perceiving threats everywhere because we needed that to survive. We need fear, we need this sense of survival in order for us not to go play in traffic or not to put our hand on a hot stove. So even though we all have fears, I have fears, does not mean that our fears have to dominate us, or it doesn't mean that our fears are necessarily as big or as scary or as bad as they may seem in our mind, because our mind tends to make problems, little things like this, or things that haven't even happened yet, which is where anxiety stems from, is this idea that there is a threat in the future and we really don't know what the future holds. So perceiving a threat in the future is basically nonsensical. You might think you're a negative thinker, or you might think you're a negative person because you have these negative quote unquote thoughts, but it's actually because you're choosing to focus in on them. The mind automatically goes towards what is familiar, towards what is most comfortable, and a lot of times staying back in fear is comfortable to us because we're staying in our comfort zone. Anything outside of the comfort zone is perceived as negative or bad by this nice little ego we have. So a very simple way to start to understand your thoughts and start to take control over your mind, not letting your mind rule over you, is through meditation. Now, meditation is something very simple that anyone can do, and the longer you do it first thing in the morning, the more effective it will be. But if you're a beginner, you can start off by using an app like Headspace or Insight Timer, which is pretty much free, or you can even search up guided meditations or just meditation music online if you just hate the thought of sitting down in silence. But silence is very important. especially in nowadays, and I'm gonna make a video on the importance of living in silence or living a quiet life, because the problem is we live in such a fast-paced world. We live in a world with so much going on, so much information coming at us at once. Some of us are on our phones and on our laptops at the same time, looking at different apps, reading the news, scrolling through feeds, seeing different things, and it's like our mind can never focus on one thing. So meditation really helps you to hone in on being in the present moment, which helps a lot with chronic overthinking. Just spend 10 minutes every morning or 15 minutes every morning. I do about 20 minutes every morning in just silence. As soon as you wake up, before you check your phone, before you go about your day, make sure that you give yourself this time to meditate, to be present for your own self-care. Wake up a little bit earlier. I know it might be hard to wake up earlier for meditation, but you will be glad that you did, because most of us are on autopilot. We're just going about our day, not really being mindful or understanding, and we're absorbing all this information, which is not necessarily us. So it's important that we realize through meditation how our thoughts are not us. We need to be aware. We are the awareness behind these thoughts. So as you sit down in meditation, these thoughts will come up. It's not about suppressing the thoughts when they come up. Maybe you think, oh, I have a paper due, I haven't done it, or this person hasn't texted me back, or I owe this much money, or this bill, whatever. So these thoughts will come in naturally. But what you need to do as the consciousness and the awareness behind these thoughts is simply observe them. Don't work through the ego, which will want to judge good, bad, good, bad, good. No, just observe. Observe the thoughts. Observe what's coming in, like airplanes. So I have a paper due at 12, flies by, let it go. This guy said he liked me, flies by, let it go. You know, good or positive, don't judge it. Don't judge your thoughts. Don't judge yourself. Don't already be perceiving things in the future. When you find your mind wandering off into the future, or perhaps into the past, or holding on to the thought, you say, no, I am consciousness. You let it go and focus back on your breathing. And that's the main thing about meditation, is focusing on either counting your breath. So inhale, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhale. And you can count your inhales and exhales as well. So that really helps you get grounded in the present moment. And like I said, if you have issues with this, or you don't know how to start, use an app like Headspace. That's basically how I started as a beginner in meditation. And the more time you do meditation, the better. And do it in the morning and at night if you can. You can do it when you're feeling stressed out. Make it a part of your daily routine. Make it a part of who you are. Change your story, adopt meditation into your habits, and you'll see how you will regain control of this monkey mind or these recurring thoughts. A lot of our thoughts are not really us. Our thoughts, a lot of times, and our perceptions about ourselves and the life around us and the world around us were not necessarily us. They were given to us. Maybe a parent told us, oh, this is gonna be really hard for you to do that, or you have to do this in order to be successful, or you have to do this to be happy, or for someone to like you. Maybe somebody told you that you weren't attractive and you held on to that belief forever, which I have a whole video on how to rewrite your belief system on my channel. I will link it down below. I did it not too long ago, which will help you a lot with subconscious limiting beliefs and understanding that a lot of the beliefs that we hold and the thoughts that we hold, they came from other people and they're not necessarily us. It's good to be mindful whenever you have a negative thought. Is that thought actually you? Of course not. You are not your thoughts, but you think, does that thought come from me? And no, it doesn't. And the thing is, with anxiety and overthinking, it's important that we realize that a lot of the anxieties that we have and the thoughts that we have are from perceived threats. So we automatically create a story or an assumption around a negative or a perceived negative experience, and then that starts to become our inner dialogue. Don't let the voices of the outside world come and be your own inner voice. We all have our own inner voice, and some philosophers would call this your inner demon or daemon, and that was like your true self, and I like to call it your higher self. Your higher self is constantly in contact with you. Your higher self is you within. A lot of times it is being suppressed by the ego, or by our limiting beliefs, or by us taking on the energies of the outside world. So it's important that you spend time alone and not allow people on the outside's words or thoughts or opinions about you or about anything else be filtered through the ego. When somebody says something to you, let's say it's negative, or let's say you like someone and they tell you they don't like you back, instead of allowing that to go through your ego and you perceive that as negative or positive, just let it be filtered through your consciousness. What would your higher self say about this? Your higher self would most likely look at somebody's rejection or negativity towards you as simply just another experience, as a learning experience. Look at the negative stuff that comes your way, either from other people or the outside world, as a learning experience. Learn from these things instead of letting it attack who you truly are. Because as I talk about, you guys, your worth and your power and your beauty, it all comes from within. It's not external. It's not about the physical. It's not about this 3D world or what other people say about you. It's about how you feel about yourself. Instead of taking on people's opinions as your own, you speak to yourself in a positive sense. Speak to yourself as your higher self would. Your higher self would not beat you up for making a mistake. Your higher self would not insult you for doing something wrong or for being not good enough or whatever it may be. Your higher self would say, let's ascend, let's get better, let's learn from this, let's get stronger, let's get more loving, more kind. So you need to speak to yourself alone within yourself in a positive sense. So when those negative thoughts come up, you say, no, I am consciousness. I am consciousness. I am my higher self. I am grateful. I am present. When something really bad happens, you turn it around. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? You say, what is this trying to teach me? What do I need to gather from this experience? Why am I trying to judge this as negative or positive? And I know you're gonna say, Isabel, this is easier said than done. Well, you know what, guys? Everything is easier said than done. But if we don't put in the effort into changing our inner dialogue, then these negative thoughts are going to continue taking over our spirit, our soul, our true selves. And we don't want that. I have transcended the ego in many ways. For me, opinions and things like that, they may hurt in the moment that they're said or that I take them in, but then I remember, I tell myself, I am consciousness. This is simply the opinion of an external person. It's not who I truly am, and I don't have to take this on. Even a positive comment, I don't put that up in my head or think I'm better than others or think that I'm some kind of whatever it may be. I take it on as kind of neutral. I accept it. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that people are coming to me in a loving and respectful and grateful manner, but I don't allow that to change my self-image. Yes, of course, the mind automatically wants to go to the negative and amplify it, or even the positive. We want to form our self-worth depending on all the good stuff that comes in as well, but it's always the relationship that you have with yourself. That is number one. I have dealt with anxiety most of my life, and something that has helped me realize what anxiety is and where mine has stemmed from is therapy, which if you deal with really tough anxiety that stops you from doing anything in life, then please go to a professional, a therapist. Just talking about your fears helps you realize that they don't exist, that they're only a figment of our mind and our imagination, our conditioning, our upbringing, and the ego. So it's not really out there. We're just perceiving threats. And also know this about the modern age, especially here in the Western world. Our world is so much more comfortable than it was for our caveman ancestors or people previous, even just a few generations ago. Our life is comfortable. We don't really have to worry about where we're going to get our next meal from, or if a lion is going to come attack us as soon as we walk out of our dwelling. So we have to understand that our ego was created for generations ago for them to survive. So nowadays, since we live such a comfortable life, we pick up little things to try to focus in on and stay busy on. The mind has to be doing something in order for it to be preoccupied. So the mind will pick up on any little thing. That person talked to me differently. They must hate me now. Or my horoscope said this, so now my whole day is going to be ruined. So our mind picks up on these little bitty things and amplifies them to keep itself busy, to make use out of itself, basically. And once you understand understand that. That's our old lizard brain, some people like to call it. And we don't have to work through that. Especially nowadays, we have to be grateful for how comfortable a lot of us live and how our basic issues every day is getting to and from work, or who's gonna pick up the kids after school. And those are little problems. And I know, like, we all deal with different things. We all deal with different occurrences, and some of us have bigger issues than others, but it's not about letting those issues rule over your life. Those fears for the future rule over your life. You know, a lot of people in my family have anxiety. It's kind of a genetic thing, but I don't choose to take that on as my story. As soon as I started to get anxiety and these overthinkings and these fears, I said, you know, I realized my true power was from within, and I realized I don't have to give power to generational curses or things like that. I will change my life, and I'll change my mindset, and I'll change my habits and my routines so that I can change my mindset. And that's where it all begins. It's the choice of making the changes, of doing the work so that the old narratives don't have to keep repeating themselves year after year. So the way I deal with fear, and this might sound counterproductive, I realize that I'm not my fears. My fears don't rule over my life. I am an everlasting divine spirit and being. I am part of consciousness. I am connected to the universe. I am made by God. I am not on earth to be in fear. And the thing is that there's fears all around us on TV, which I would recommend you turn off the TV, stop watching the news, stop scrolling through social media. There's so much negativity. People get so angry out of the smallest things nowadays. And it's, to me, like, I just can't believe, like, why would you want to live a life like that? Why would you want to accept that as your story? Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But when I feel fear around something, I go towards the fear. I go towards what it is that I'm fearing. And it's not because I'm braver or I'm smarter or stronger than the average person. I'm just like you. But the thing is, I have learned that when I just stepped out of the fear, that when I pushed myself to go towards what I feared, I grew so much because of it. I grew so much out of stepping out of the comfort zone, going towards what I feared. And the problem is, a lot of us are held up by what other people will say or what other people will think. And when you stop living your life according to other people's paradigms or what they're gonna say, again, like I said, spend time alone, spend time away from people, because a lot of times people say to us, our parents, whatever, it's unsafe to do this, it's bad to do this, you're not gonna be successful, you're not gonna be happy, this person, whatever. When we take those on as our own, we are limiting ourselves not only by our own limiting beliefs, but by the limiting beliefs of others. So stop caring, stop looking around at anyone else. If somebody gives you their opinion and says you shouldn't do that, whatever, you say, okay, thank you for your advice, but I'm gonna do what I believe is best for me. Listen to the inner demon, the higher self. I know that might sound bad to say listen to your inner demon, but the demon in philosophy is different than what we would perceive as the bad, demon. Listen to your inner voice. Your inner voice is there to guide you. That is connected to source. It is connected to the universe, to God, and it's always speaking to you. When you fear something, it's because the ego is saying, oh, that's unfamiliar to me. I don't like that at all. It's unfamiliar. But doesn't mean that what you fear is necessarily bad or evil or gonna hurt you or kill you. It's just the mind, like I said, likes to amplify things. So of course, use your best judgment when making a decision, but don't let fears, these negative things, stop you from realizing, but what if I succeed? What if I grow from this? What if this opens up even more doors and opportunities for me? What if this all goes right? Flip the script. What if everything works out? So go towards what you fear. That's how you begin to shut off those negative voices, all those negative people, and you just go and do something, take risk in life. Because a lot of us are feeling like we're not getting anywhere, like we're lost in life. Life is happening to us, we've lost control, we feel like we're not good enough because we're staying in this little circle like a hamster in a wheel. We're not getting anywhere, we're just spinning our wheels and not getting anywhere. So step off that wheel and go somewhere else. This does not have to be your reality. If you're not happy with this cycle or whatever you're in now, or you feel lost, or you're not getting anywhere, go towards what you fear. Think of your biggest dreams. Don't let your dreams just be dreams. Don't let your aspirations stay aspirations. Be as if you are that person that you have visualized to see in the future. And if you don't know who that person is in the future, you create that person. Think of your wildest dreams and not think, oh, this would be nice, but I don't think it's possible. No, think, what is the greatest, most important thing to you? What is the greatest, most important aspiration, ambition, goal that you have always had? I don't care if it's a silly child goal or if it's a goal that you had a year ago and you fell off of it and you don't know if you should go back onto it. Go after what it is that you want. Even if you are afraid of failing and everybody saying you're a loser, who cares? You gain a lot more in trying than you do in sitting down at home, scrolling through social media, seeing everybody else live a great life. I want you guys to live a great life, but you're not going to be able to do so if you don't tackle these fears, this overthinking. This is not you. You are so much more than this brain up here. Use this. This is your tool. This is not your enemy. This is your tool. And like I said, seeking mental help is going to help you so much. It does not mean you're weak. It does not mean that you're not good enough or that you are sick or any of that. It just means that you have decided to take dominion over your life and take control over your life, and you want a better life. Because there's nothing worse than unfulfilled potential, than having all these beautiful talents and qualities and strengths within you, and then letting those irrational fears in your mind hold all of this beauty from expressing itself. So if you're gonna do one thing today, do one thing that gets you out of your comfort zone. If you're a shy person, go talk to a stranger. Say hello to your neighbors. Call up a friend you haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe enroll in a class that you've always wanted to enroll in. Decide to finally switch majors or take a new course in college. Or maybe decide to put in your 2 weeks notice because you're finally tired of this. Remember, God helps those who help themselves. So don't just sit around and wait. You go after what it is that you want out of your life. And don't let anyone or anything, not even yourself, stop you in the pursuit of what it is that you want. So thank you guys so much. I hope this video helped you. If it did, please be sure to leave your comments down below, hit thumbs up, and subscribe. And follow me on social media. I am on Instagram and Twitter. Links are always down below. And I also have a podcast called Taking Back Your Power. I put up new episodes every week. So yeah, I love you guys so very much. And always remember, no matter who you may be in this life, no matter if you've struggled with overthinking or fears, or what you look like, or what your past may say about you, or what anyone else says about you, always remember this. Your true beauty, your true worth, and your true power always come from within. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!